there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. I have been away for about 2 weeks, just stitching on some stuff. Not as much as I usually do, I think. I got really into like knitting, just like, I don't know, I didn't want to stitch on anything. Like everything that I had, I was like, I don't feel like stitching on that. But I also didn't want to start new stuff because I don't want to like overwhelm myself. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just knit socks. So I do have some socks to show you later in the video, but I did make some significant progress on a couple of my projects and I'm going to show you those today. Usually I start out with shout outs, but I haven't really been watching Flosstube the last couple weeks. I've been like watching a bunch of other YouTube or Grey's Anatomy, to be quite honest with you, because I don't know, I'm just unmotivated. I don't actually even want to watch anything. Like I sit down to watch something and I'm like, nothing sounds good. Everything's just been that way in my life. I'm like, I don't want to eat this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything right now for some reason. But I do have some stitching to show you, so let's start with that. So first off, I have a few finishes, nothing big, just three smalls. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is I've been trying to get through all my New Year's Eve 12 by 12 ornaments that I started, and this one gave me a newfound respect for people who do the really, really big dimensions kits, because this is an itty bitty dimensions kit and I was like, oh my god, there's so much backstitching. I'm not even a backstitching hater. There was so much. And I was like, what the heck? And this is my gingerbread house ornament, which this is the last time you guys probably saw it. And of course I did finish it. So here is what it looks like. A lot of back stitching and a couple of French knots for his eyes. Like, I don't know if you guys can see his giant French knot eyes that I did. And then in like some of the flowers. And like I said, not a backstitch hater, but one thing I don't like about patterns with a lot of backstitch, such as dimensions kits, is I feel like the backstitch on the pattern is overwhelming to look at when you're trying to just stitch your pattern. And sometimes it covers up symbols in a way that you're like, wait, what is that symbol supposed to be? So I almost wish they had like two versions of the pattern, one without the backstitch and then one with it on there, so you can like stitch the pattern first and then add the backstitch later. And then it also like up in this roof, because a lot of this backstitching is kind of like zigzaggy, jagged. It was kind of hard to like make sure that I was following it correctly. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you don't, but you know, you want it to look nice. So this just needs to be cut out of the plastic canvas. I used the plastic canvas the kit provided and all the kit threads, and I got it off of Amazon for like $8. So I'll just stick some felt on the back and make a cord and it'll be an ornament. I also finished Penguin Noel, and this is what it looked like last time, and this is one I got from the Just Cross Stitch magazine from last year's Christmas like special edition, and it is by Praiseworthy Stitches. I stitched this on 32 count Nightshade Lugana, and I stitched it 2/2, and I almost wish I had stitched it 1/2 because the weave was a little bit tight, surprisingly, even though it's only 32 count. I used the called for DMC, and then it has beads in it. Here it is now, by the way. Here's what it looks like finished. It does have some beads like on the tree and like as like a detail on the hat. And I think right here in this like, what is it, like mistletoe or whatever? I don't know. But it used some beads. I didn't have the called for Mill Hill beads, but I had other red and white Mill Hill beads. So I was like, I'll just use those. It also has like Smyrna crosses up in the sky, which I'd never done before, but they're literally just so easy. So I was like, all right, let me throw those in there. And it wasn't until I was putting in the Smyrna crosses, which was the last thing that I did, that I realized that somehow I made the border proportions wrong. But I mean, you can't tell, it's fine. And then the other thing too is I kind of messed up because the eyes on the penguins are French knots, And on this guy, like one of his eyes is a little bit smaller. And I was going to rip it out and redo it. And Rob was like, no, it looks like he's winking. And I like that. So I was like, okay, Rob, who am I to tell you no? So I don't know, just another cute little ornament. And then the last thing I had was a start and finish. I just did this at work one day. It's by La Selva Designs. The pattern set is called Koala Bundle. They had like 4 different koala patterns. I used the called for DMC, and I used a 14 count Robin's Egg Ada by Millennial Fabrics. They gave out like little sample, like 4 by 5 inches or something like that. And here is what it looks like. I have a friend who she loves koalas, and I'm going to see her next weekend. So I thought I would make her just like this little thing, and then I will just pop it in a frame and give it to her. Nothing too big, but I was just like, oh, it's cute. So those are my 3 super itty bitty finishes. I'm just trying to like finish up all my smalls because I feel like smalls should not sit that long in my collection. Like the 2 Christmas ornaments I started at the very beginning of the year, so they had no excuses. Now let's get into new starts and whips. I did have a new start. If you saw my whip parade for this year, you may have seen this already. I think I did add something to it since the last time, but this is my Colors of Summer. This is by, I think, Stitch Rovia, and I found these in a Cross Stitch magazine, but you can buy them from their shop. All the patterns I mentioned will be listed down below, by the way, in the description box if you are interested. So here is where I got to. Don't be deceived. These little squares are 18 by 18, so they are quite a few stitches. And what these are is like, it'll say like, I have Colors of Spring started, Colors of Summer is now started, and then I'll do Colors of Fall, which is originally Colors of Autumn, and then Colors of Winter. And these are like British patterns that I'm converting some of it to like be American because I'm American in America. So like some of this stuff just wouldn't have made sense for me. So like, for example, this Perfect Peaches, that's as charted. But then this originally, I've changed it to Sweet Tea, but it actually was Clotted Cream Fudge, which I had to Google because I was like, I've never heard of that. And it's just like a candy, but like I don't think we eat that here. If we do, it's like a regional thing. And also I don't associate fudge with summer. I associate it with winter. It's like a Christmas treat. I mean, I guess technically you could associate it with summer in Michigan because of Mackinac Island, and then you go to the island and you get the fudge. But like mostly it's like a winter thing for me. And then I also changed this one. It was Blackcurrant Squash, which I'm like, what is that? So I made it Starry Nights, and then I just put like a constellation. And then they have Fresh Lemonade, which you can kind of see some bubbles in there. And that one was as charted. So there should be one more on the like line here, and then I will be going on to the next row. And this is 1/2 on 40 count avocado even weave from Bestitch Me. I'm stitching them all on 40 count even weaves from Bestitch Me just to keep them uniform. And then that way I can make an interchangeable display. The next thing I've been working on is my Only Judy Can Judge Me. I started this on July 31st of last year, so I would like to finish this before July 31st of this year, like kill it before it hits 1 year old. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with some of my like mid-sized whips, because I just feel like if I don't, then they'll never get worked on. I'm stitching this in the called for on 18 count Ivory Ada 2/1, and here is where I'm at now. I worked on this quite a bit yesterday because I got on a call with my friends Tara from Willed Woman Crafts and the Hathaway Stitchers. We just kind of did like, I think maybe 2 hours. We sat and stitched together on a Zoom call, which I've never really done that before, so that was fun. And I put in, I think since the last time, I put in all of this pretty much. And then last night I did a bunch of the shoulder here too. And then I got bored and I was like, well, let me do a different color. But this is not going to take me that much longer. And then the lettering is like no time at all. So I don't think that Like by the next time you guys see this, I think it'll be done. And I want to turn it into a pillow. I do have to put a little bit of backstitch in the face, but it is very minimal. So that will take like 20 minutes at most. I think this is so funny. I'm really excited to have it finished. I was really intimidated by this pattern when I first started it because I think I told you guys before, the symbols look like they're hand-drawn and some of them are very similar. It doesn't go into any of my digital pattern like things, so I can't like highlight a symbol and have them all light up. So like one of the symbols is like a perfect filled in square, and then one of them is like a square, but then it's got like just a little notch out of the corner of it. And those symbols are all like right next to each other on the pattern because they are like all of the like black and gray in here. And so like that's a hassle. You got to be careful, but I've gotten used to it. So now it's not so bad. And I'm glad. I don't know why I ever bought this Ivory Ada. I don't like the color ivory that much. I don't really use it for much, but I'm so glad I had it on hand because I feel like it's perfect for this because of this white collar here. I feel like if this was stark white, it wouldn't have looked right. And yeah, I know it's super wrinkly because I just don't iron things until I'm done. I don't know. People who iron all their projects in between floss tubes, that seems like a lot of time that you could just be stitching. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't want to do that. But yeah, I think that'll be done by the next time I see you guys. So then I needed a new, like, bigger project for at work because I finished my long dog and I was like, well, what do I have? Like, I don't want to bring only Judy to work because I feel like there's like a lot of colors. It's a little bit more elaborate. I want to bring stuff that if it's big, it's like simpler when it comes to colors, or it's like itty bitty. So it's like, even if it does have a lot of colors, it's not like, it doesn't feel like I'm bringing as much. I don't know. Like it makes sense in my head, I promise. So I wasn't going to bring only Judy to work. So then the next one on my list of like things that need to be like finished by a certain time in my brain, but don't have a ton of colors is the Quacker sampler. And this one I'm stitching 1/2, and it's on 32 count blue spruce Belfast linen by Zweigart. I started this on September 17th, so I have plenty of time to finish it, and it's, let me see, I have it in Pattern Keeper. It's about 15% done, so I've got 2,300 stitches out of almost 1,600 stitches done. And I think that if I just keep bringing this one to work, this will be pretty easy to finish up. I'm doing it 1/2. Pattern says to do it 2/2, which I didn't realize until it was too late. But after going back and forth on it, and people telling me it's fine, don't worry about it, I've decided I'm just gonna leave it 1/2. I feel like it looks a little bit rustic. So I did finish this huge motif here and all of these like kind of like what do you call it? Is it a pussy willow? And then I love the little duck here at the bottom, and like you can kind of see this like reverse lobster, like I like that. And then I came over and I started adding in some of the stuff, so I'm going to bring it all the way over and then I'll just start moving down. Seeing it on camera makes me feel a lot better about my 1/2 snafu, and I do really like it. The color that is used is, it's Gentle Arts linen, so it's what's called for. I bought the amount that they said to buy, but not realizing that, you know, it's 2/2. So I'm gonna have a few extra skeins of this for sure. But it is a good, like, kind of white, but not stark white color to have on hand for if I want to do any kind of conversions. So I'm really excited to get down to the bottom, not just because I'm like, oh, it'll be almost done, but like there's a rubber ducky at the bottom that I don't know why, I just love that. But like, I just couldn't believe, like this first motif, it felt like it took me forever because it is just so dense. And then there's another, I mean, I guess they're all kind of like individually dense, but like this is all, you know, just one big thing, and it didn't take me that long. And I don't know why, like maybe just psychologically this felt like boring, and I hated doing the reeds. I don't like doing like thin strips of stitching. I like block stitching, and I like more fill-in and stuff like that typically. But yeah, one thing I don't like about this linen, you guys can't even see that, but like I feel like the weave of it shifts really hard. Like it's a very loose weave, and so like as soon as I put it in any kind of hoop or frame or whatever, it like shifts all of the, like, you know how like the cross hatching of the strands, like it'll like shift a bunch of it down, and then I have to push the strands back up so they are all like not perfect, but stitchable. So I don't like this linen very much. As far as like using it goes, aesthetically it looks fine though. Like once I shift all that stuff back into where it needs to be. But yeah, hopefully I can finish this while I'm at work. Okay, and then here's one that I worked on and I like wish I hadn't, and I wish that I had just trusted my gut. I worked on my stocking. This is actually called Lois's stocking. This is a shepherd's bush pattern, and this is where you saw last time. I really didn't have a ton. I mean, I guess I didn't add like a ton more, but I'm stitching this on 18 count raw linen, but it's like opalescent because that's all 1, 2, 3 stitch had when I was going to order it. And then I just was like, well, let's just roll with it. And here is where it is now, but it doesn't matter because I have to rip all this out and do it all over again because I measured it wrong. And in my whip parade, when I was showing this, I had just had like this and like the green. And I even said in my whip parade, I don't think that this is right. I think I need to remeasure it. And then I didn't. And then I put all of this in, and then I measured it. And I realized that this needs to be shifted like over probably 1.5 inches, and it needs to come up like 1.5 inches because this piece isn't long enough. And if I don't shift it over, like over to here, then the toe is going to have like almost no margin. So I won't be able to sew it into a stocking. So I'm a moron. Should have trusted my gut. But I will say, like, I'm not super devastated about it because I love stitching this. This is over 2 on 18 count. So it's basically 9 count. And I'm using pearl cotton, and these chunky stitches really make you feel like you've made so much progress. So here's where it is. I don't feel like ripping all this out. I have extra pieces of this, so I'm just going to use a different piece, and then eventually I'll get the gumption to rip it out of here. But this is why I started with my stocking, because I knew I was going to make mistakes, and I didn't want to make mistakes on somebody else's stocking. So can't wait to start that one over. Probably start over this month so that I don't lose steam on it, because I find that the faster I correct a mistake, the faster I get over it. So I would like to fix this and just move forward with it. But yeah, that kind of sucked, but it was my own fault. And then I know it was my own fault, which makes it worse because you're like, well, nobody to blame but myself. And then the last thing I stitched on was my Year in Stitches project, which is officially halfway done. And I haven't put anything in for July yet. It is July 5th right now, so I should probably do a few tonight. But here, it's hard to get like the whole thing in camera. So here's what I got so far. I think the last one I showed you guys was the Pellegrino bottle. So after that, I put in this little like Lisa Frank heart. This is from a different pattern. This was by Witchy Stitcher, and I just took a piece of it and put it on here. That's because I got a bunch of Lisa Frank themed bags from Whittier Stitches, and they were so beautiful, and I was so excited about it. This is like a blindfold because I did a really cool video on my other YouTube channel, and that one was designed by me. And I did a really cool video, or at least I thought it was a really cool video, on my other YouTube channel, my nail polish YouTube channel, where I like painted my nails while blindfolded. And I was like, this is it. This is my magnum opus. This is going to do so well. And it flopped so hard. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. Because that was a pain in the butt to film. I was so mad. This is a corn dog drafted by me. Rob and I went and got Korean corn dogs at Kimchi Box. This is my dad because it was Father's Day. Obviously I drafted that, but like that was made using Stitch People books. This is a little rotary phone. This is from the Makoto Ozu books. That is because I spent half the day on the phone with various family members because we were all fighting over something that happened on Father's Day. So that was fun. Here is a little like desert scene basically, because Michigan, that was like the beginning of a really horrible heat wave here. That was a Makoto Ozu pattern. It was so hot. Like I felt like I was going to die. It was miserable. I go outside and I'm like, I'm melting and it's humid. This is the flag for Juneteenth because it was Juneteenth. This is a slightly adapted version of a pattern that was free from Snail Fish's Stitches. I found it on Instagram. And by slightly adapted, I mean I had to cut off a couple of the edges just so that it would fit my like size, because this is a 20 by 20 stitch width / height, and it wouldn't have fit otherwise. So I just cut it down into a square. This is a beach ball. I believe this is from, okay, this is from Cute Kawaii Cross Stitch. That's another book that I use. And that's just to mark the first day of summer. This is a moth. So this is originally a Makoto Ozu pattern that was a butterfly, and I just made it brown, so it was a moth. Basically what happened was Rob was taking a shower, and he sits down in the shower and then like just sits there like, I don't get it. But I just heard him like calling me from the bathroom. He was like, Hillary! And then he's like running out of the bathroom as I come out. And there was like he's like, there's a giant moth in there. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, there's no giant moths in our home. Like, chill out. And he's like, no, it chased me in the bathroom and I had to run out. And I was like, no, I don't see anything. You're crazy. And he goes, no, it's on my cup. And I look at his cup that's sitting there, and just around the cup crawls the biggest moth I have ever seen in my life. Like, it was huge. Like, not like the biggest moth I've ever seen in my life, but like in the wild in Michigan, because we don't, like, bugs don't get that big here because of the winter. So I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Because we don't kill bugs in this house. I do not believe in killing bugs. We need to let them go free. They didn't do anything wrong. And so like I run to the kitchen and get a cup, and I like come back into the bathroom like ready to like try to trap it, and it flew like directly into the cup, and I was like, oh, perfect, and like let it outside. But it was huge. It was like one of the biggest moths I've ever seen up close like that. Next we have a barber pole. This is self-drafted. That's just, I got a haircut, and earlier in the year I also have like a haircut one that's scissors, so I was like, I gotta switch it up, and so I made a barber pole. Next is a couch. That's an adapted pixel art, and that is, in fact, the couch I am sitting on, because I finally cleaned off the couch, because all these quilt tops here were just like laid out flat and like taking up a ton of space, and then I was just piling craft supplies that needed to be put away, and I don't like having a mess, so I finally was like, I'm cleaning off that dang couch. This is a little rose. This is from the Makoto Ozu books. I finally got the first book in like the Bridgerton series after the library said it was going to be like a 4-month wait. It didn't end up being that long, so I was like, oh, that's lucky. And so I went and picked it up, and I, you know what, haven't read it yet. It's just sitting over there on my desk because I've been so busy. Next this is a gay Mickey Mouse head, because one of my best friends and his wife, who's also my BFF, and their kid, they went to Disney, and like they're like a Disney family. They go to Disney like every year with his parents, and Trevor is his name. He brought me back a souvenir, which he didn't have to do. It was very nice of him. But it's back here. It's like this pin. It's like a Star Wars pin, and it's like interactive. It's got R2-D2 on it, and it's like a gay Pride pin because he went during Pride. And I like just watched a couple of the Star Wars movies for the first time in my life, and I was like, I'm obsessed with R2-D2, and I'm also queer, so he was just like, perfect, I'll get you this, and I love it. So next is a crutch, and this is self-drafted. I hurt my leg. I don't know what didn't do anything, but I hurt my leg and it hurt to walk on it, and so I was like, all right, a crutch. And then this motif spans across 2 days. It's a ball of yarn that is just like in a huge mess, because I don't own a Swift, and I've never had like the type of yarn where you really need a Swift to roll it up into like a cake. And so I was just like, it'll be fine, because I got skein of that yarn. It'll be fine. I won't have any problems. And I made the biggest rat's nest of yarn you've ever seen. And it took me 2 full days to unwind, and that is not an exaggeration. Every moment that I wasn't doing work or something else, I was trying to unwind this ball of yarn. And I was stressed about it, I was pressed about it, and I got it unwound. But man, I will never do that again. This is a balloon, self-drafted because I went to somebody's birthday party. And then this is a skillet because we went to Costco and they had Dolly Parton cast iron skillets, and we did in fact buy one, and now we're cast iron people. So that is the first 6 months of the year in stitches. Let's see if I can do this for another 6 months, because so that was all the cross stitching I did. I do have some other crafts. It's just knitting. It won't take me that long, and then we'll get into haul. So the first thing that happened was I finished a pair of socks, and I've already worn them once, and they are washed, but oh, that's my hair just in there. These are, I think they're called Weekend Shorty. They're by Summer Lee, and I've made this pattern before. In fact, I'm wearing the other pair I made, but I made them in like a monochromatic, but they're designed so that you're supposed to use a different color for every like color blocked section. I didn't have enough colors like that would match for that, so I just kind of made it work. I think they're fun. The foot was so boring to knit because it's just, you know, all white. But I'm glad these are finished. I really like this pattern. I believe it's a free pattern by Summer Lee. She has some really good free patterns. And one thing about these that I learned while I was making them was that, so all of my socks so far that I've knit were getting this like hole right there where, you know, your ankle and your like foot kind of happen, where you're like picking up the gusset. And I was like, how do I fix that? And so I went on Reddit and people were like, here's how you fix that. And so then on the next sock, no hole. So I've learned how to fix that, and it's very easy. So many people were like, just sew it up. And then there were people who were like, no, there's like actually a very simple way to not do that. And so I fixed it. And now going forward, my socks will not have weird singular holes in the ankle. So I finished that pair of socks. I worked on my decathlon socks, which I am now working on the like gusset decreases. So it's gonna look kind of weird. This is the first pair of socks I'm knitting on 9-inch circulars. So I like them. I still don't get why people hate DPNs so much, because I just feel like DPNs are easy. But yeah, I like them. It's just weird. But like, it's just, this is like kind of a ribbed sock, and then it's got like this rainbow yarn that I'm using. It's just some like hobby, whatever yarn. And I don't usually love socks this long. I am an ankle sock girly through and through, but I really wanted like the full gradient of this to work out. And so I was like, all right, I will make the longer socks. Also, can I just say one thing that is so humbling is when you finish a sock for your foot and you look at that and you're like, that sock is too damn big. Like, who's that gonna fit? That is insane that I would make a sock that large thinking it would fit me, and then you put it on and it actually is a little bit snug, and you're like, oh, I have goblin feet. So that's something that I hate about being a big-footed person, is like knitting the socks takes that much longer. But yeah, so I have the whole ankle leg thing going. I just got to finish the decreases here, and then I will be working on the foot. And then the yarn that I was telling you guys about that like was causing me so much agita earlier this month, I bought it along with Whittier Stitches because we were gonna like make socks, and I decided on, this is the Leap Year socks. Again, another free Summer Lee Design Co. pattern. And I forced myself to immediately start on these socks because the yarn was stressing me out so bad that I was like, if I don't start these right now, I will never look at this yarn again. I just finished the heel turn, so this is going to look kind of weird because now I have to go through and pick up the gusset. But I made these a little bit shorter. You can see there's like some fun ribbing here, and that will be the pattern for the sock. I love the way the heel turned out. I feel like that is such a fun kind of gradient. But yeah, I got to go through and pick up the stitches. I don't enjoy the gusset decreases for some reason. I don't know why. I don't like doing that, that part, but I like the texture of this yarn. Here it is. Here's proof. I got it all caked up and it's not a big knotted mess anymore. But yeah, these ones I'm like, I was like, I have to start these or they will never get started because I'm so angry at this yarn and myself. So that was all of my other crafts. Let me just show you my haul really quick and then we'll talk plans. And then I have to go film one more video for my other channel. I have so much going on right now because I'm going to be going out of town for a nail polish expo. And if I don't have everything pre-filmed, it'll just be a disaster. So as far as haul goes, the first thing I have to show you guys, I got my unicorn pattern, the Monopoly. I love Monopoly so much. Like, I feel like this is nobody's unicorn but mine. The Monopoly pattern, where I can make a complete scale game board. That's fun. I want to make one and then I want to frame it really like thin so that it can be used. I just love Monopoly so much. And I think it's so funny on the back, it's got like ideas for other projects. So just like little framed like fractionals of the game board there. It also gives you like 2 different versions of the center. So you can have like the Monopoly center with Mr. Monopoly, or you can have, I guess this is like the original logo, but for me, this is the one I remember. So that's like the one I'm going to do. This is from, I think 1984 maybe is when this pattern was made. And I have to say like a huge thank you to Whittier Stitches, Kat, because she's the one who got this for me. She found it on eBay and she had it sent to me and I was like, why are you being so nice to me? But it was so stressful. I felt so bad because she sent me the tracking and then it showed that it arrived and I went and I checked my mailbox and it was not there. And I didn't want to be like, hey, it's not there. Because it's like, she did this nice thing. And I was like, I don't want to be annoying, but like, I don't know what to do, you know? And so I waited a few days because sometimes my post office, like they'll mark something as delivered and then you get it 2 days later because the pressure they're putting on the post office is absurd. I think they have to meet quotas. And so they're like faking quotas and it's a huge pain, not only for us, but for them. And I think it's rude. Be nice to the post office, but they didn't deliver it. And so after like 3 or 4 days, which is like the max time it usually takes them, still wasn't there, said it delivered into my mailbox. And so I filed a complaint with the post office and they called me and they're like, it delivered. And I was like, no, it says it delivered, but it didn't deliver. And they're like, no, it says it delivered. And I'm like, I know it says it delivered, but it isn't there. And they're like, well, are you sure? I was like, well, 1, I checked. 2, this won't fit in my mailbox because we have like one of those like cluster boxes where everybody's box is this big. I was like, maybe they put it in one of like the package lockers and didn't give me the key. And he's like, okay, I'll tell them to put the key in there. I was like, okay, I'm not telling you that that's what happened. I'm just saying that's my theory. And like 3 more days go by and it still wasn't there. And they sent me a survey being like, how satisfied are you with the resolution of your case? And I was like, all right, I'm not, because it's not resolved. And I went through every single box and I just put 0, 0, 0, not resolved, not resolved, not resolved. And wouldn't you know it, the next day it showed up on my doorstep. Okay, I got it. I'm happy. It's all here. Everything's good. I don't know what happened. I think they put it in somebody else's mailbox. That's my theory because I saw on the package a different number was written in Sharpie, even though my apartment number was written on there. So I don't know, but I got it. And I want to find like the perfect, probably an even weave I think would be good for this. Or Ada wouldn't be bad, but like even weave would look a little bit nicer, I think. I gotta find the perfect colored even weave and then I can get started. I also ordered off of Etsy one of these, which is like a magnetic frame that I've seen like other YouTubers use. And I have to be careful because I've already pinched my fingers in this like 3 times. And I want to use this for like perforated paper projects because I grip the paper. Everybody at StitchCon was making fun of me because I was talking about this at a late night stitching. I was like, yeah, you know when you like grip the paper too hard and you crinkle it, and everyone's like, we do not have that experience. And I'm like, sorry, we're not all holding onto our projects for dear life, but I feel like this will be good for something like that, so that at least I can grip the frame really hard and not the paper and destroy it. So haven't used it yet, but I do have a Mill Hill kit going, so next time I pop that out, I'm going to use this. And then I got an order from Owl Forest Embroidery. I got a bunch of thread packs, and I bought one pattern, but I bought the digital version. So I ordered these like shortly after StitchCon, and they just got to me like 2 or 3 days ago. And I was like, wow, that took forever, because here's what I thought. Because their website is like .co.uk, I thought that their whole operation had just been moved to the UK, because Owl Forest is a Russian brand. And it turns out, no, just their website is in the UK, and everything else is still shipping from Russia. So I didn't realize it was going to take as long as it did, which is fine. Like, I'm not going to start any of these right away, but I was just like, I want to look at them, you know? So I'll tell you the thread packs I got, and then I'll pop a picture of the pattern on the screen so you guys know. So I got two of the forest houses because Amity gave me the forest house patterns at StitchCon. And so I got the forest houses raccoons, and I got the forest houses beavers. And these are both for, because you can pick like the amount you want. So they're like 36 count 2 strands or 40 count 1 strand. And these are dyed using a DMC base. So you can choose either DMC or like there's like a Russian brand of floss, and that one's cheaper, but I've heard that the DMC is just like better quality. So I was like, oh, I'll pay a few bucks more and I will get the DMC ones. And then I bought thread packs for 2 patterns that I already have. So this is the cucumbers chart, or what Marjorie Maid calls her pickle whip. And I bought this knowing full well I wanted to use the hand-dyed threads. This one is, it doesn't say what like size fabric it's for. Some of them do and some of them don't. But it's just like mostly greens. It's got some red, yellow, and brown in there. They look really pretty. And then this one I'm really excited to start. It's Solyanka. And this one is like, the pattern has just a bunch of like meats in the background, and then I think there's like a dinner table, and I don't know what it was about this pattern that really appealed to me. I think it was all the meats in the background. I think it looked really fun. But yeah, I'm excited to start that one. And then I bought a pattern from them, and I was like, well, I gotta buy the threads too. And it is mushroom hunting. They have a new Sal that's starting that's like a mushroom themed one, and I almost bought the fabric and floss for that, but I was just like, I'm already spending too much. So this is mushroom hunting, and it's got like these 2 guys that are like sawing a mushroom in half, almost like you would a tree. And I don't know, I just thought it looked really cute. Here's the floss pack. I'm excited to try these. I've never done an Owl Forest with their threads before. The only Owl Forests I have ever done were those cat and owl Christmas ornaments. They were free. If you are interested in Owl Forest, but you don't know if you want to spring for them, they have a very extensive free pattern selection on their website. They do a free sale every year as well. And the free patterns are just as big and good quality as their not free patterns. I find that that's not always the case. Like sometimes like the quality of the freebies for some designers don't really like meet the quality of their paid patterns, which is fine. They're free. Like, I'm not complaining. But when a designer does free patterns just as nicely as their paid patterns, I'm like, all right, here we go. So I highly recommend you guys check out the Owl Forest Embroidery website. Really, really nice stuff. So I think that's everything. My goals for July are to finish the Only Judy and make pretty significant progress on Quacker Sampler. I think I have like 2 ornaments left from my, what do you call it? From my 12 by 12 at the beginning of the year / end of last year. No, I have 3. I have Hollyberry Santa, Have a Mod Christmas, and Snowy Wishes. So those 3 I want to finish by the end of the year. I could probably finish another one of those in the month of July. And then I have a bunch of stuff kitted and like ready to be stitched. So I think after I finish a few more of these patterns, I will reward myself with some new starts. So I guess that is going to be it from me. My throat hurts because I filmed like 4 videos for my other channel, and now this, I've talked too much, and I still have to go film some B-roll for my nail polish channel. So, gonna leave it at that. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope that your 4th of July weekend was safe and fun. We didn't do anything for the 4th. Nobody invited us anywhere, so we were just like, okay, I guess we're just gonna stay at home and make burgers ourselves, and that's it. So, but I hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. If you celebrate, there was a lot of fireworks yesterday. That was fun. And I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.